take some photoshopping. We'll just wind up there.
Put some glasses on it.
There you go. Here it goes. I'm the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. If you ask me who am I am wisdom, I am light. I am more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I can choose to be the light to brighten someone's darkest night. I'm so much more than meets the eye. I cannot be defined. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the things that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. The things that shape my life. I am a thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought that changes the chains that shape my life. I am the thinker who thinks the thought. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. I have the power to change my life. Thank you.
Good morning, CLF. How are you this morning? Yes, you are. And it's lovely to see all of you. I'm so delighted that you are here. I'm Michele Whittington, Senior Minister here, where it is our intention, our purpose, our reason for being to open hearts and incubate dreams by applying our beautiful science of mind principles. I am glad you are here this morning to have an experience of that. I am going to hand this candle, or as we like to say, hand the light, to Tara Brown, one of our wonderful spiritual life coaches, and Tara is going to take that to the back. Thank you, dear. And she's going to hold the high watch or hold the light. And holding the high watch means that she is in contemplative prayer during the course of this service to just know that it unfolds perfectly, and everything that you came in here wanting, needing, or desiring, whether you know it in your head or it's simply buried in your heart, you receive that. So we thank you, Tara, for your beautiful service this morning. We like to begin our time with a passage from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, oftentimes, and today, from the Science of Mind, what we call the Science of Mind textbook. We take this passage into our hearts and just into our minds, kind of into contemplation, and then we are bathed in the sound of God, a high vibrational tone through the gong wash. The gong wash is provided by Reverend Christopher Gudakaram Gallagher, our gong master. He does this for us every week, and we are so very blessed that he offers this gift to us. Your job is just to take these words into the silence, into this gong wash, let it just fill you and prepare you and open you for everything else that's to happen today. We'll take a few moments of silence after the gong wash to really let that anchor in us, and then we will have our opening prayer offered by Karen Nestor, another one of our spiritual life coaches. That's the lay of the land for the first couple of moments. Our reading this morning, as they do every Sunday morning, it matches and fits our theme for today. And so in this reading, it's in a section entitled Perfect Action, No Mistakes. In mental work, we must realize that there is one infinite mind which is consciously directing our destiny. Declare every day that no mistakes have been made, none are being made, and none can be made. Declare there is one supreme intelligence which governs, guides, and guards, tells me what to do, when to act, and how to act. Having done this in perfect faith, act with perfect assurance. Declare further everything necessary to the full and complete expression of the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. Know this, see it, feel it, and be it.
keeping with this beautiful tone set here this morning, let us close our eyes and open our hearts to receive. There is one presence, one power, one universal flow of energy. This power we call God, the divine, consistent source of love and beauty in motion. We see and feel this love in a child's face, in a cool breeze, in a beautiful sunrise. As I turn towards this dynamic, supporting energy of love and joy, knowing that it continually moves in, through, and around all of us, I now tune in and declare my oneness with this power, the substance that life is made of. I speak my word for each person within the sound of my voice, knowing that they too move in this same energy. Using this God energy, we transform our lives and know the power, the grace, the peace and faith of God that simply is. Knowing this, God now pours love and inspiration into every situation. Our actions are harmonized and lifted into a new dimension of our own creation. I know for CLF and its congregants that love and acceptance are at hand right now, and that all are divinely guided by God to our highest and best good. I now send our collective love and energy out to any place in our world where unrest prevails, consciously knowing that this energy envelops all people of different beliefs and faiths, and helps them raise their consciousness to see new solutions and understandings to peace, kindness, and love. I am so grateful for the absolute and perfect manifestations of these truths, for the way they work in my life, the life of each one here today and in the world, and I say thank you. Thank you, God. Living in this joyous action of life and knowing that we are forever in the divine embrace, I release these words into the universal flow, knowing that it is already done. And so together we say, and so it is.
And so it is. I let it go. Release my word into the flow. I let it be. I let it grow. And I know that it is so. Yes, I know that it is so. And so it is. So I let it go. Release my word into the flow. I let it be and let it grow. And I know that it is so. Yes, I know that it is so.
And so it is, and so we let it be. Thank you, Karen, for that beautiful, beautiful prayer. So let's take a moment to wave to the camera back there and also to the sound booth, but wave to the camera back there. We're waving at the folks who are watching us online. So everybody, let's say really loud, welcome. Welcome. Nice, very nice. I hope you all heard that. I'm sure you did. Even though you can't see all the waving, other than the first couple of rows, know that everyone is waving and said welcome, and we're so glad that you stopped in this morning wherever you might be. And thank you so much for the folks in the sound booth back there, Jared and Deb and Luis. So we're so happy you guys are back there in the sound booth. Thank you. If you are here in the room for the first time, we would love to welcome you and love on you a bit. So if you're here today and would be willing to let us know that either by standing or raising your hand, our ushers have something for you, and we have love to give you. All right. So, up here, right, there we go. Excellent, excellent. First of all, let's give our guests a hand. We're so happy that you're here. And what we're going to offer you now is some love. Your job is just to receive this. You folks who are here for the first time, you just receive this. As we get our hands energized, we love getting them energized with love, then we send it out as we say to you, whoever you are, wherever you've been, whatever brought you through our doors today, we welcome you here into our hearts. Namaste. Namaste, an ancient Sanskrit word that literally means the God in me, the divine in me, sees it in you, greets it, and honors it, and that is exactly what we do. In the packet that you just received, there's a goldenrod coupon. We invite you to fill that out and after the service and take it to our guest reception table, which is in our Homes Fellowship Hall today, through those two sets of double doors, and immediately then on the right. Take it there, and when you turn that in, there is a gift waiting for you as our way of saying thank you so much for being here. And if you're here for the second or third time, please go to that same table, because there are gifts for you there as well, as our way of saying thank you for coming back again and again, and we invite you to keep on coming back. So if you are on our Hearts of Welcome or HOW team, which is how we do it, Hearts of Welcome, if you're on that team, would you please stand so our guests can see you? These are folks who are available to answer questions, show you around, connect you with who can answer questions if you're new or relatively new here. So we thank our Hearts of Welcome team members. And then if you're on our Board of Trustees, would you please stand? So there we go. We have 3 of our Board of Trustees. Diana back there counting, but also don't disturb her because she's counting. But she's also on our board. Let's give our Hearts of Welcome and our board a hand. All right, so before we do our congregational song, we have something very quick to do, and that is every quarter we acknowledge someone who has really stood out in their service of this community, not even necessarily in that quarter, but just overall. And we like to say that it takes, as they say, it takes a village to raise a child. It also takes a village to run a church. And if any church ever had to pay for, as employees, everything that needs to get done, I don't know that any church could actually ever do that. So we are so blessed because we have the energy and the love and the connection of so many people who support us. So today we're going to honor our second quarter volunteer of the quarter, and this person has been around CLF for many, many, many years. Actually was a First Church congregant before we spun off and became Creative Living Fellowship, so that's more than 20 years ago. Actively, it has been involved in things through the years, but in the last couple of years has really jumped in a number of very, very important ways. And as soon as you start recognizing yourself here, you're going to come on forward. So I know, I probably have 4 or 5 people come forward. But, right, we'll get you guys later. But this morning, we're acknowledging a flaming redhead for her finance committee work that she so diligently serves and supports our finance committee. She is on our community outreach ministry and is very involved in community outreach, including the Hope Fest that is coming up. Come on, Cynthia, you know who you are. Come on up. She is part. Yeah, come on up. She is. We got her. We surprised her. Oh, I love it when we do that. She is an active member of our congregant care team, giving love and support to our congregation when they're in need and supporting Reverend Cindy in that team. And she also, with great love and honor and a high abundance consciousness, is one of the chosen few who gets to help count our offerings on Sunday. Right. So Cynthia White is our newest volunteer of the quarter, and with that, you get a certificate, your own parking space for 3 months, and an Amazon gift card to spend at your pleasure and leisure. And our deep, deep love and appreciation. You're welcome. Give her a hand. Okay, 29 years. Here, let's smile for Bill. Yeah, Very good. She just whispered in my ear that it's been 29 years that she's been involved in Science of Mind. That's pretty cool. All right, let us now all stand, and we're going to sing our congregational song, which is I Am As God Created Me. It's right up here. We're going to sing it just like it is, and then come back, greet each other, and then come back and sing it through again. We're led this morning. I'd like to introduce the band over here before we sing. We are led this morning by the Gods in the House band, Pam Marita as our music director, as well as pianist, Dr. Dan Stotes on bass guitar, Michael Peters on lead guitar, and we're very happy this morning to have Jeremy Lintz on drums, as drummer Dave is on vacation, so thank you, Jeremy. And this morning we have Megan and Leah as two members of our Love Note song leaders leading us. All right, let's sing.
I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. God created me. You are as God created you. You are a light in this world. You are as God created you. You are. We are as God created us. We are a light in this world. We are as God created us. We are.
Greet your neighbor.
Well, good morning. I'm Reverend Lonnie, and it's my pleasure to bring the announcements to you today. And I'd like to call your attention to a sheet that is in the pew pocket in front of you. It's a little half sheet, and it has on it the Ministry of the Month, as well as the individual whose life has been changed by this Ministry of the Month. And this month we are highlighting Green Faith Ministry. So take a few minutes to get yourself familiar with who the Green Faith Ministry is. And in the Holmes Hall in the south wall there, we do have a little exhibit from Green Faith Ministry. So take a few minutes and take a look at that. So there's a table set up in there, and we are highlighting Green Faith Ministry this month. And today is the last day to register with our Community Outreach Ministry to volunteer for Hope Fest 2016. The event is on April 16th, which is a Saturday at Chase Field, and it's a one-day event where the community comes together to meet the immediate needs of those who are underinsured, uninsured, and underdeserved, our neighbors that are in need. So our Community Outreach Ministry will be in the Holmes Hall after service to answer any questions and get you signed up if you would like to volunteer for this very worthwhile event. Now I'd like to invite up Reverend Bobby and Reverend Michelle for class announcements.
Happy Couples Class, Creating a Shared Vision, was scheduled to start this Tuesday, April 8th. Lonnie and I are creating and teaching that class, and our shared vision didn't come together quick enough for us to offer that class starting tomorrow, or starting Tuesday. It's a new class. We want it to be really powerful for you, so we're postponing it by about 6 weeks so that we can have the time that we need to really get it beautiful for you. So it's going to happen on May 17th rather than April 8th. It was this coming Tuesday, not this coming Tuesday, but instead May 17th. Be on the lookout for it. If you were thinking, oh, you wanted to take it, but you couldn't do it right now, well, perhaps now will be the time that you can. If you've registered for it already and can roll it over to the 17th, great. We'll just roll your registration over. If you have registered for it and that new date doesn't work, we're happy to refund your money, whatever works for you. But if you want to take it, mark your calendar for the 17th of May. It'll happen then, promise. Our shared vision will come together by then.
When I was growing up, it was my father's belief that there were only 2 occupations that a woman could engage in. One was nursing, and the other was teaching. I could not picture myself as a teacher. All I saw was a classroom full of kids. So I chose nursing. Well, I imagine that my father is just laughing all over the place in the spirit world someplace, because now I'm teaching. So what does that have to do with the class that I'm offering, the dynamics of being a spiritual educator? Well, it has everything to do with it. Because when I was first offered opportunities to teach, I really wanted to do that, but I knew nothing about teaching. And I got all my credentials from the School of Hard Knocks. Now, how many in here have been to that school? Have the T-shirts? Yeah, me too. I have several of them. So this class really was conceived with the idea that instructors would be better prepared. Spiritual educators would be better prepared because it's a little bit different teaching spiritual education than it is just teaching in a classroom. So Dr. Michele and I created this class well over 15 years ago, and we update it every time that the class is offered. And so this class is designed to prepare teachers, instructors, facilitators to teach dynamic and inspiring classes to help students transform their lives. Now, listen up. This is really important. The dates for this class have been changed. We're going to start on Tuesday, April 12th, instead of on Fridays. You know, you snooze, you lose, and Tuesdays have been hijacked. I heard from a lot of people that they didn't really want to give up their Friday nights and that they would take the class, but they had plans on the 9th of April for the Saturday class. So we are taking over Tuesdays. Class will start on April 12th. We will still have an all-day Saturday class. That will be on April 16th. And I do hope that if you have any desire at all to apply for one of our faculty positions here, that you will take this class, because your resume should say on it that you have this as one of your credentials and not the credential from the School of Hard Knocks. Thank you. See you then.
Well, you just heard from 2 doctors, and how can you not take your doctor's advice? And so there is a registration corner in the Holmes Hall. And now I'd like to invite up Leah Holtzman to talk about the transformational power of grief.
You know, every human being has to deal with emotions. And grief seems to be the most challenging one. Because it's so painful, we have a tendency to avoid it, to suppress it. Unfortunately, when we bury our emotions, we bury them alive, and they seek expression later in more unpleasant ways. So the Grief Recovery Workshop is a very gentle, safe way to express and release the pain of the grief, which I think is a really healthy thing to do. This workshop is free. Your only expense is $15 for a book, and it's a really good book. So for me, when the universe offers me a gift, I hold out my hand and I say, thank you very much. I hope you'll do the same and join us. Have the courage to do it now. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Leah. And as you can see, it starts on Friday, April 8th, and it is limited to 16 participants. So it's up to you to take Leah's advice also. On Friday, April 22nd at 6:30 p.m., Barry and Catherine Cohen are going to be presenting a Passover Seder dinner, and it's a traditional Passover Seder ceremony with some New Thought flair. So please sign up in Holmes Hall if you plan to attend. This is a potluck dinner, and there are some specific foods, do's and don'ts, so make sure that you take a look at the information in Holmes Hall and sign up for that. And this will all be probably our 16th, maybe 17th, who knows. We've had it every year a lot, and it's always a lot of fun, and I'll see you there. And I'd like to thank this month's Bountiful Bees Kitchen sponsor is Release Through Breath, and you can find information about the sponsor and its services in Holmes Hall at the food table. Well, that is it for my announcements, and now I'd like to invite up Reverend Cindy for our warm and fuzzy blessing. I beg your pardon? Oh, it is birthday. Whoops. Well, okay. April Fool. It is the first week, end of April, and it's an opportunity for those of you who were born during April to get a gift of song as well as a gift for we'll tell you about it in a minute after we sing Happy Birthday. Those of you who were born during April, would you please stand so that we can honor you appropriately?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Blessings upon you through the year. Blessings upon you through the year. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, blessings to you.
This is an opportunity to meet with a spiritual life coach of your choice for brand new free, and we have a list of SLCs out in the foyer. All that we ask that you do is use it during the month of your birth, and make sure that you can transform your life through understanding who you are and your place in the universe. Now I would like to invite up Reverend Cindy for our warm and fuzzy blessing. Oh, you can? Okay.
Thank you. First and foremost, I would like to thank everybody who donated a warm and fuzzy critter. Creator critters. Okay, there's a new term. All right, but thank you from our deepest gratitude from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you for all that you do for the children at Maricopa County and our congregants. So I would like to take time to bless these sweet little critters. Critters. And if you'll join me in consciousness, just knowing that God sometimes comes in the form of a warm and fuzzy critter, we bless them on their various paths of healing. We bless each beanie baby on the way to the neonatal intensive care of Maricopa County Hospital, given their charge to support the healing of sweet babies and their families. And we bless each warm and fuzzy animal on the way to the pediatric units of Maricopa County Hospital, given their charge to comfort and love each child, helping them to feel safe and warm and cared for in a hospital setting. And lastly, we bless all of our prayer bearers, given their charge to help our congregants during any challenges, any hospital stays, any life quakes, and for knowing the perfection, the capital T truth, that everyone is whole, perfect, and complete. So please join me in rubbing your hands together and infusing these critters with warmth and love and healing energy. And so it is. Thank you.
And now it's my pleasure to invite back up on the stage Beth McDonald. Lawrence. Beth McDonald. Yes, you are. You know who you are. Beth Lawrence.
I am the real Beth Lawrence. I wanted to do this particular song today because you all know this song, and it's a great jazz standard, but you may not have always listened to the lyrics, and the lyrics to this song are very spiritual, all about an elevated and far view in life. And I did take the liberty to write new thought lyrics to the second verse. So I hope you enjoy this song and sing along. On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you that the glow of your being outshines every star. You'll feel part of every mountain, sea, and shore, and you will hear from far and near those things you never ever heard before. And on that clear day, you can hear forever and look around you. You've got faith in your heart. On that clear day, how it will astound you that each moment you're given, it's like a brand new start. Walk with spirit as you open each new door to manifest a life that you have never ever known before. And on that clear day, on that brand new day, you can see forever and ever and evermore. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth, for not only the selection of that song and giving us new eyes, but also new lyrics. So thank you so much. April Fools. What? Yes, our theme for this month is April Fools. I decided to pick that theme since the 1st of April was so close to Sunday, not quite on it, but pretty close. And it occurred to me of all the sayings and ways we use fool in our lexicon, in our phrases, and in our kind of idiosyncratic things that we say. And I realized as I was thinking about that there's actually possibly some pretty nice, deep spiritual lessons that can be found in phrases that have the word fool in it. So every Sunday this month, we are going to experience April Fools in a sometimes silly way, maybe a little foolish way, but also in a lovely, profound, spiritual teaching way as well. So that begins today. But first I want to ask, does anybody know where the idea of April Fool's Day came from? Oh, good. I get to tell you something you don't know. I love doing that. And I love finding out like the history. How did that come about? And so I get to tell you this morning where that came from, because I know you're just dying to know. Here is how it happened. Actually, it's a little muddy, not totally clear how it happened, because it was many, 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 many centuries ago, and record keeping wasn't all that, up to speed then. But the belief is this is how it started. It began as a way to mock and make fun of, make fools of, those people who were slow to switch to the Gregorian calendar. All right, what does all that mean? The Gregorian calendar, which in 1582, Pope Gregory, thus the Gregorian, named after him, Pope Gregory VIII said, we're going to change when the year begins. Up until that point, the first of the year was April 1st. He decided in the late 1500s, that he wanted to change that, and he was going to create a whole new calendar system, and it would be called the Gregorian calendar system, which is the system we use today, and the new year would begin on January 1st. Well, just imagine in the 1500s, 1582, that the messaging system to get that word out to all the people wasn't as efficient as it is today. There wasn't Facebook. There wasn't tweeting that can be sent out and, put this up on your whatever, however we communicate these days. Instant messaging didn't occur. News broadcast everywhere didn't happen. So it took a long time to get the word out that we are changing the first of the year from April 1st to January 1st. And even in the slowness of getting the word out, there were also people who didn't like the idea. They liked the idea that it started on April 1st, and they just dug in their heels and said they weren't going to make the change. Those who had made the change then decided to poke fun at, make sport of the people who hadn't made the change. And they would do things like send them on to look for things that didn't exist, which now has been called going on a fool's errand, right? They tricked them into believing something that was false, all to poke fun at them for not making the change. Well, eventually, everybody did make the change, and eventually, January 1st became the first of the year, but that tradition stuck. The tradition of leading people on, shining them on, stuck. And it has stuck even today. So now you know how April Fools came about. Aren't you glad of that? Say yes. Oh, yes. We're so glad. You never know what you're going to learn when you come to church here. You never know what you're going to learn. Some things that are totally irrelevant and mean nothing, but you're going to learn it here anyway. And that's what that was. Let me give you one famous April Fool's joke that was played by an unlikely source, I think anyway, but very appropriate to tell you about it today since this year anyway, since it's an election year. All right. So this April Fool's joke was played in 1992, not all that long ago. 1992, National Public Radio, that amazing font of intellectual knowledge and arts, and it's such a beautiful radio station. They had this announcement on April Fool's Day, April 1st, in 1992. They announced that Richard M. Nixon was going to run for president for a second term, and that his campaign slogan was going to be, "I didn't do anything wrong then, and I won't do it again." And I suspect there were some people who actually believed that that was true, but that wasn't true. So enough foolishness. Here's a serious question. Wouldn't it be great if you could foolproof your life so that you never made another false move, had an error in judgment, or made a bad decision? Wouldn't it be great if you could foolproof your life? Well, actually, I think you can. I think you absolutely can foolproof your life, and we're going to talk about that today. I have 3 keys to foolproofing your life that I want to present to you today and really have them anchored in us this morning. So the first key to foolproofing our life is that, and the first key takes us to the beginning. We have to go back to the beginning. The beginning of what? Well, the beginning of all of our spiritual practice and belief here. That beginning is, and to foolproof our life, we must realize, perhaps for the first time, if you are new to this way of thinking or new to our Science of Mind teachings, perhaps realize anew if you have strayed in your thinking, or perhaps to realize at a deeper level if you feel like your feet are very firmly on the path, and realize what? At one of these 3 levels, realize who and whose you are. Realize who and whose you are. So if you are new today, if you fit in that first category of new to these teachings, and you're like, well, I don't even know what that means, let me tell you, in a nutshell, who and whose you are. God. There it is. Who are you? You are God in expression. You are a divine source that was created out of its divine source created you out of itself. You are made in the image and likeness of God, the scripture tells us. We believe that every single one of us is a perfect and unique creation of the divine, of source, of spirit, of life energy, of God. Whatever term you choose to use, it doesn't matter. That's who you are. And whose are you? It's the same answer. Because the God of the God of bigger than our being, the God of the universe, the God that is all that is of course bigger than we are individually. So not only are we God in expression, we're also held in the arms of that infinite God. So who and whose are we? God in form, in God's arms. That's who we are. That's the beginning that we need to start with to foolproof our life. If we want to move out of making mistakes, believing we've made bad decisions, being afraid about errors in judgment, if we want to move out of that, foolproof our life so we don't have that, we must remember who and whose we are. I love the statement from Course in Miracles that I just had to adjust a tiny bit, just a tiny bit. It goes like this. If we knew it, adjusted by me, goes like this. If we knew who walked as us, there would be nothing to fear. If we knew who walks as us, there would be nothing to fear. So I'm going to invite you into an engagement of a statement right now, which is, I know who walks as me. Would you say that? I know who walks as me. Again, I know who walks as me. One more time. I know who walks as me. I can rely on this. I can rely on this. I do rely on this. I do rely on this. Nice. Nice. Ernest Holmes, our founder, wrote in his book, Spiritual Awareness, our divine nature never deserts us. Like the prodigal son, we may wander into far countries of despair, but the divinity within us ever gently urges us back to the center of our true being. It ever reminds us of its presence. If we permit it, the spiritual self will direct our every decision with intelligence and make perfect the way before us. And that last sentence is really honing in now on our first key for foolproofing our life. If we permit it, this spiritual self, who and whose we are, will direct our every decision with intelligence and make perfect our way before us. Key number 1, remember, anchor, deepen into that idea. And from that, then, we take the next step. And to introduce the next step, rhetorical question. Has anybody ever fretted, stewed, worried, had blood, sweat, and tears over having a decision to make? Right? Anybody ever had a decision to make that caused them angst and worry? Am I going to do the right thing? Am I going to make the right decision? What are the consequences of this decision? What if I make a mistake? Right? Right? Well, after we deepen into who and whose we are, after we permit our spiritual self to direct our decisions and allow that decision to make perfect the way before us, we can stop doing something. And I'm hoping from today forward, we stop doing something. And the something that we're going to stop is we're going to stop making decisions. What? We're going to stop making decisions. Think about that phrase for a moment. And the words we use are really, really important. I have to make it. Any ever say, I have to make a decision. I've got to make this really hard decision. I don't know what decision to make. Doesn't that suggest that that's something that we have to really figure out and sort out in our own mind, and even we have to figure it out and, make it happen. Excuse me, we got to push it through. Doesn't that suggest that? Make it happen? I've talked before on this whole idea of needing to figure it out. When we're in the figuring it out mode, when we're in the making a decision mode, we are completely blocking that spontaneous flow of divine wisdom and guidance and intelligence that is within us. So decisions of what to do and which way to go and where to turn, etc., should not be made. They should instead be discovered. From this moment forward, my charge to you is to discover your decisions, not make your decisions. Life is whole, perfect, and complete. And even when you're seeing it in scattered parts and think your decision that you need to make is going to pull it all together, there's a place in you that is whole and perfect already that knows how to pull those disparate pieces together. And when you allow yourself to discover that within you, then the decision will come forth with gentleness and ease and grace. So here's some exciting news. I think it's exciting anyway. Although I admit it might not seem exciting at the beginning. I believe that when a challenge faces us that requires a decision to be discovered, when a challenge faces us that requires a decision to be discovered, it is life, bigger life, calling us into a higher way of being, into another cycle around our ever-evolving upward spiral of consciousness. It's life calling us to that. And the bigger and the scarier that decision is, the bigger and more expansive the call is for our growth and for our going up that circle of evolution. That's the good news. I know it might not feel that way, but that's the good news. So let me say that one more time. The bigger the decision might feel, the more expansion is wanting to happen as and through you. So take a breath. So how do we discover the decision rather than make it? I'm going to give you a practice. This isn't the only way to do it, but this is a way to do it. Take a piece of paper and just write at the top, which way, right? Question mark. Now you probably think I'm going to say, and on one side put pros, and one side put cons, and draw a line, and no, I'm not, not that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. This is way deeper than that. I want you to just start writing about this decision. Just start writing about whatever, about it. Just start writing. Start writing. Write. Continue to write. Now here's the deal. Our mind is a very, very deep well because it is connected to infinite mind, right? Who and whose are we? God. That's infinite mind. We're connected to that. Our mind is connected to that. But the surface stuff in our mind is all the dialogue and the conversation, the upset and the consternation that we have about this decision, right? That hangs out here. Usually we're trying to make a decision from here. But if you write, continue to write, you'll get past that layer and go to a deeper layer. And then go to a deeper layer. Connect more deeply with that well of infinite knowledge and wisdom that is in you. The divine guidance is in you. As you continue to write, you will start to discover that the decision is already there. The decision is already there, and you will see it be revealed in your writing. I promise you, if you do this, that is what will happen. Now, the deal is, just because you come to a place where you discover the decision is completely revealed, it's clear, there it is before you, it does not mean that there might not be just a tad amount of resistance. Just a little bit of resistance. So don't think that, oh no, no, that's not it. That can't possibly be it. That resistance, that no that's in you suggests that it is incorrect, that you have not made the discovery. Oh no. That resistance is coming up probably because this decision that you have unveiled and discovered perhaps will take you in another direction, in a new direction, in a direction you've never been before. And that can be scary. Or it may be that because you've been doing something in a certain way for so long, you've got, inertia that you don't want to, it's hard to make the change. So that's the resistance. It's not that the discovery is false. It's that you've got a little bit of resistance. So you just love yourself in that and, be gentle with yourself. But don't let it stop you from then moving forward with that decision that you have discovered. Knowing this, knowing that you have in you the decision already and that you can discover it, can free you from the idea that you can make a bad decision, because you can't. You actually can't. Guidance and inspiration and creativity are ever with you and ever within you. Ever with you and ever within you. And you cannot, therefore, when you do this process and really tap into that place, you cannot make a bad decision. Whew. I think that's good news. That's the second thing to remember, to foolproof your life. The third thing just follows right on what I just said, and that is to remember again and again and again and again. I talk about this a lot, but to really anchor into it in this context, to remember that the universe is conspiring for your good and for the good of others. The universe is conspiring for your good and the good of others. One more time. The universe is conspiring. Oh, good, you can say it. For my good and the good of others. It is always working together for good. Highest good, evolution, growth, always happening. So whether it's within you, your wisdom, or whether from the bigger picture, source, spirit is conspiring. Either way, it is always your good is always being conspired on your behalf. Ernest Holmes, in the book Question and Answers on the Science of Mind, said, by keeping our eye single to the reality that only truth, which is our very life, can manifest through us and for us, and by mentally accepting nothing to the contrary, we automatically forestall any tendency to make a mistake. So what that said was, when we recognize that the universe is always conspiring for our good, we have a deep wisdom of truth within us. When we realize that, anchor in that, we can't make a mistake. We forestall any tendency to make a mistake. This alone is our work, he said. We shall then act with the sure knowledge that there are no mistakes and that the one infinite mind is consciously directing our destiny. We will consciously feel whatever we ought to do. I love that idea. The universe is always truly conspiring for our good. So I want to give you an example of this. And if you're in our foundations class or have taken that class, you've heard this probably, because I usually share it in that class. But I want to give it to all of us this morning. And it's a Taoist teaching. It's from Taoism. And it goes like this. Once upon a time in ancient China, there lived a Taoist farmer who followed the great way of God. That's what Taoism means, the great way. He was considered a wealthy man because he owned a horse to help him plow. That was how they measured wealth. He owned a horse to help him plow. Early one spring morning, his horse ran off. When the villagers heard this, they hastened to his home to express their sympathy. What a terrible thing, they lamented. This is awful that this happened, but the Taoist farmer simply said, maybe. The next morning his horse returned, and with him he brought an entire herd of wild mustangs. The townspeople rushed over, exclaiming his good fortune. Oh, now you're the richest man in the province. They said, this is fantastic. And the farmer said, maybe. The following morning, the farmer's only son awoke early to train one of the wild mustangs. That mustang promptly threw him off. The son broke his leg. The neighbors rushed over in alarm. Oh, what a terrible thing, they wept. Without the help of your only son, now how will you ever plant your fields? This is terrible. But the farmer said, maybe. The next afternoon, the emperor's soldiers rode into town, kicking up an enormous cloud of dust. They had come to conscript all the young men into war. But the farmer's son could not go because of his broken leg. The townspeople once again gathered to marvel at the farmer's good luck, but all he said was, maybe. Joan Borisenko, in her great book, The Ways of the Mystic, had this to say about this story. She said, the story continues in the same fashion for many, many more verses, illustrating the important principle of trusting the universe. The farmer knows that the Tao is harmonious and just, that all things conspire creatively for life to grow and evolve. Incidents that appear either good or bad can never be judged in isolation. Life is a paradox in which all things are relative and interrelated. One can only have faith in the ultimate working of the Tao. So, to foolproof our lives, we remember who and whose we are. We remember to shift our thinking from making a decision to discovering the decision. And we remember to trust that all is working for our highest good and the good of others. So I want us to really anchor this. I believe in not having me just yammer at you all the time, but to have an experience of this. So we're just going to do the threefold little quick experience here. If you want to put yourself in the power position, which science has showed us, it just empowers what we do, and it's literally arms out, chest up. If you stand up, feet apart, you don't have to stand, but you can if you want. And if you're going to do this, just don't whack somebody. That's all I ask, is you don't hit somebody when you put your arms out. Great enthusiasm, whack. We don't want to do that. So here we go. The first statement I want you to say is, I remember who and whose I am. Here we go. I remember who and whose I am. Let's do it again. I remember who and whose I am. Now take your hands to your heart. Close your eyes if they're not closed already. Take a deep breath and feel what that means. To remember, to know that you are God in form, spirit in expression, made in the image and likeness of all that is. And not only that, but the source that is infinitely bigger than you has you in its hands. I'm going to be quiet for just about 10 seconds so you can, at the deepest place that is possible for you, to breathe in that knowledge and feel it. And then open your eyes again, roll your shoulders a little bit, shake it out just a little bit. Number 2, anchoring. Boom. Arms up. You're going to repeat after me. From this moment forward, I let my decisions be discovered. All right, let's do that all together. From this moment forward, I let my decisions be discovered. One more time. From this moment forward, I let my decisions be discovered. Hands to heart, eyes closed, deep breath. especially this morning, if you have a decision on your heart. Maybe you have been in that worried place of, I don't know what to do. Am I going to make the wrong decision? Just drop that. And just set right here a powerful intention to discover the right and perfect decision made from your source, your well of infinite intelligence. Eyes open again, shake it out a little bit for our third anchoring. The universe is conspiring for my good and the good of others. The universe is conspiring for my good and the good of others. Again, the universe is conspiring for my good and the good of others. Hands to heart, eyes closed. Take that in. Take that in for what does that mean for you? What does it mean for you to trust that that is so? Because it is so. Because it is so. Come back with me. I want to leave you with a final story. An example. A powerful example of all of these three things. These three keys to foolproofing our life and how they worked in someone's life. True story. It occurred in the middle 1700s. There was a man, not a very nice man. In fact, it appeared, if you took a snapshot of time in a moment, it appeared that he made some very, very bad decisions. Some enormous mistakes. It would look like from here. He was a British captain of a slave ship. He became very, very wealthy, sailing from England to Africa, rounding up indigenous people, putting them in the bottom of that ship in horrific conditions, sailing across the seas to America, unloading them and selling them as slaves. In 1748, he was high into his trade. The ship nearly went down in a horrific storm. Everyone on that ship thought that this is it. This we are not going to survive this storm. As he observed this storm and in terror of what was happening, his life kind of flashed before his eyes. And the terror of the storm was less to him than the terror that he saw in front of him, which is what his life was. He didn't know what was going to happen. He just knew that this life he had lived was awful. Miraculously, the ship did not sink. Miraculously, the ship made it to port. And when he walked off the ship, he was bereft and broken in mind, body, and spirit. And when he hit the pier, he got down on his knees, turned to God, and begged for grace, which of course was instantly and immediately given. In that moment, he didn't make, but he discovered a decision to walk a new path. It would be a path in service to God and humankind. The discovery of that decision led him to renounce his trade, to become a cleric, and to become a prominent and vocal supporter of abolitionism. And he was very instrumental in Britain's abolition of the African slave trade in 1807. He had a major hand in having that practice stopped. This man's name was John Newton. And among his other accomplishments was that he wrote a timeless hymn. And we're going to hear that hymn this morning as our closing prayer. And so I invite you to be in prayer during this hymn and to remember that your life is already foolproofed. In fact, your life is filled with grace.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I see. Was blind, and now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to love, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils and snares, I have already come. The grace has brought me safe this far, and grace will lead me home. The Lord has promised good to me. His word, my hope secures. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I was blind, but now I can see.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. It's now time. Yeah, take a breath. I was saying, yeah, I see a lot of tissue out. Yes, take some breaths. That was just beautiful. Thank you. It's time for our offering. It's time for us to share of our gifts and our tithes. It's time for us to recognize that beautiful spiritual principle of giving and receiving, knowing that as we give, we are absolutely blessed in return tenfold. If you're watching us online, we invite you to participate in this as well. There's a PayPal button right there on the home page for you to participate. And I invite our ushers to come forward now, and we will sing, I Trust in God.
As I give, I receive. This I know and I believe. In the flow, I let go. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. As I give, I receive. This I know and I believe. In the flow, I let go. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. As I give, I receive. This I know and I believe. In the flow, I let go. I trust in God. I'm thankful, so grateful. I am one in the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I trust in God. I trust in God. I trust in God.
And let us say our offering benediction together. We are thankful for these gifts. We bless the giver and the receiver and the stewardship of their use. Amen. Thank you, Tim and Rick. I do see our children waiting for us out there, so let's bring them into this big light of mine. I now let it shine.
This big light of mine, I now let it shine. This big light of mine, I now let it shine. This big light of mine, I now let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This big light of mine, I now let it shine. This big light of mine, I now let it shine. This big light of mine, I now let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Wow, wow. We have a full house here this morning, don't we? All right, so are you going to be our good news reporter this morning in that beautiful dress? Yes? Can I give you this or hold it for you so people can hear you? Hold it nice and close to your mouth. Real close like that. Up higher. There's a lot of people out there, isn't there? Yeah, I know.
Today we made these hands and we put bows on the 3 fingers to remember these 3 things. Number 1, know who you are. Number 2, stop making decisions. Number 3, trust everything is working for good.
Wow. Good job. Good job. So I am loving everybody show your hands right there. Look at that. There they are. That's beautiful. Anything from you? No. All right. Thank you, Nicole, for taking the lead with our children today while Michelle Davis had a Sunday off. Thank you, everyone, for being with our children, and thank you guys for being with us this morning. Let's give them another hand as we sing them out. right. All right, two quick announcements. Number one, next Sunday we're going to talk about Fool's Gold, and that's going to be fun where we go with that topic, Fool's Gold. And we're very blessed to have Darius Lux with us. He's just a lovely singer-songwriter, and he'll be our special music for next Sunday. And just a reminder, in case you didn't walk in the north side and see in the breezeway that Tonopah Rob is here. I want to make sure that you know our local farmer who grows food beyond organic, and so please go take advantage of the amazing things that he has in season right now, and give yourself the blessing and the treat of eating food that is so healthy for you and so full, not only of the nutrients that are supposed to be in there, they haven't been processed out, and also they have been tilled and farmed with deep love. So remember a couple Sundays ago we talked about this temple, the vessel that is God, and caring for this vessel. Well, here's a way to go care for it. Go get some of his food. So take advantage of that. I'd like our spiritual life coaches and our ministers to come forward. As they do that, a reminder that they are here to pray with you after the service. If you would like a short prayer after service, feel free to come up here and see one of them. They would be delighted and honored to do that for you. And if you'd like a longer time, a longer session, especially for those of you who got the birthday certificates, please use that. Make an appointment with one of them and have a longer session and an opportunity to go deeper than you can in just a few moments after service. And thank you, Tara, for that holding of the high watch. And weren't you proud of your daughter up there? That was Tara's daughter who gave the who did the youth message this morning. So that was pretty fun. Let's all stand. We'll say our closing affirmation. Then we'll sing I Release, and Beth will lead us in the beginning of it, and then we'll all join her in at the chorus. But first, let us say, today I am expressing God's love, being God's light, and living God's truth.
There was a time in my life when I thought I had to do it all by myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day,